Hi, friends, it's Coco, and I am in a new place recording Coco's Corner. I am legit chilling in my recliner in the living room. My twins are asleep. I can hear the lullaby. I can hear the lullaby. I can hear the lullaby playing in the background, and I thought, dude, now or never. And I just gave myself a pep talk earlier in the week about working out. Sometimes you got to be your own mama. I've often said about how I can be a procrastinator. I'm also down in the dumps, man. I hate depression. Ugh. And as a person who suffers with it, like, all the things, right? You feel it coming and then you just sit in it. So I am getting out of it. In recording this podcast is getting out of it. So hi, here it is in the raw and the real. I'm also going to share a conversation from the dinner table last night that's a part of mental health that we're also going to be recording a podcast on the Beachy Mama. So this is all kind of going together, kind of like a goulash, friend. We are cleaning out the refrigerator of thoughts. We are going to blend it all together and make a really nice meal that we are going to enjoy together, if that makes sense. I got COVID. I got COVID for my 41st birthday, and that ish sucked the life out of me. Listen, when I found out I was positive, I was like, you're joking, but I just felt so freaking sick. Like, sick. My mom was here. We went to the beach that afternoon. Like, I even posted on Facebook the little hack that I do to take water out. If I run out of ice, I use frozen strawberries. Like, I was sharing, doing all the things, felt great, fine. Came home from the beach. We ate lunch. I took a shower. The twins napped. And then, I just laid down. When I woke up from that nap, I was like, oh Lord, something is very wrong. Like, what has happened? I was just shivering. I was rolled up in the bed, underneath a bunch of blankets. And I text my husband, from the fetal position, come home, I'm sick. Something's not right. I never thought COVID. Until 24 hours later, I still felt the same and thought, bruh, no. Should we? So, of course, Jason comes in and we take the test. Oh, of course I record it. Duh. That's what I meant. Of course I film it. And I got attacked on TikTok because he wasn't wearing a mask. Well, hi, I don't know. We've been together for already 5 days. I don't know. I don't know. We live together. So, but you post anything online, you get attacked. Anyways, I didn't know. So, we took the test and within seconds, it popped fast positive. And then complete panic. You can see that complete meltdown on TikTok, Coco_ on the radio. I did not handle it well. My anxiety went through the roof, which is something that we're going to be talking about on the podcast for the Beachy Mamas of just, being responsible. Well, we're just going to talk about it tomorrow. So yes. So I did not handle it well at all whatsoever. I quarantined for about 4 days. And then that weekend, my husband was going to go visit his mom to get the kids out of the house. And Jason's like, well, I'm going to test before I go to my mom's. And he comes into the room because, hi, I'm so quarantining. And he's like, I'm positive. Cue panic attack number 42 at this moment. And I am freaking out. And he's like, I'm fine. He had 0 symptoms. So he carried on with his life by that, hold on, chill, okay, masked up, but he wasn't really going anywhere. He had some things to do, and he was with the twins. So he took them to the park every day and then just was home. So yeah, that was our life for 14 days. It was wild. And then I just got into a depression. That's just something that I'm dealing with. I stopped seeing my counselor. I know. It was $125 to go, man. And that's a lot. For 30 minutes, it was $75. And yes, I have been to other counseling here in town. The appointments are 6 to 8 weeks in between. It's difficult, which we're going to talk about in this conversation that I had on the dinner or at the dinner table with my husband last night. So this is just a conversation, raw and real, that I just wanted to share, and I didn't know I was going to capture what we did capture. I think it's important that you hear from, and I'm just going to use this loosely, a content creator. Do I think I'm a content creator? Yeah. But I'm not a fake one. I share all of it in between, the being vulnerable, those hard moments. And life has been hard, and it's been hard for a lot of people. And a lot of people feel like they are alone in this conversation. And, we're not. There's so many of us. So how do we all get on the same page to not feel alone, to feel like we can reach out? And those are things that I'm working on too. So here's me coming up from COVID. Again, I feel like the phoenix rising from the ashes for the 9,000th time, but that's okay, right? That's okay. So thanks for riding along, being a part of Coco's Corner. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you've missed it as much as I have. And welcome to conversations at the dinner table with my husband. You're also going to hear kiddos in the background. We just got done doing, this was so fun if you're looking for dinner ideas. We did build your own tacos at the dinner table with the twins, and they loved it. And it was fun. So I just had like taco meat. All of it was in Tupperware because it was easy. Taco meat, refried beans, cheese, and tostadas, and little mini flour tortillas. So freaking easy. So it was right after this. Twins were playing in the playroom, and Jason and I are chatting. And I'm so curious to know what you think about this part of Coco's Corner, just recording it from the dinner table.
Always hidden. So anyway, I was talking with Lynn, and she's getting over COVID. Well, she's negative now, but I was like, well, how are you feeling? And she says, well, I'm just exhausted and, still kind of feel like you're in a funk. And I was like, my wife said the same thing. And then she goes, and then just trying to calm down with all the anxiety of me being in this room for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And Eric having to do everything. And I was like, well, that's what I was telling Eric, because he was trying to juggle work and kids events and this and that. And I was like, I get it. Like, I understand it 100%. I'll work around your schedule. But it's just the way that moms are thinking in terms of, oh my God, Jason's out there with the kids by himself, and I'm in here sick and I can't help.
Yeah, so
what am I going to be doing?
no relaxing. Everybody's like, oh, just sleep. The first 3 or 4 days, 100%.
Yeah.
I was just.
But then as you're still trying to recoup, you're not resting because you're worried about what's going on here. Every little noise, every little crash, every little boom, every little scream,
and just everything else. Like, how are you going to get to work? Are you able to get to work? And everybody's like, well, at least you have a husband who can juggle it all.
Well, that doesn't make you feel any better.
Right. I'm like, great. I'm glad, because I should have a partner that's able to do that. It doesn't make it feel any easier. So Liz and I were just like...
Well, and then we were talking about that, and that led into the other thing. Talking about, like, affirmations and this and that. And I was like, I hear all the time, you're, great juggler, and you can do all these things. And, and people say those comments. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just doing my job. And her husband, Eric, is the same way, where it's like... Everybody wants to praise,
because there's guys who do not get up in the middle of the night to change a dirty diaper.
Which is insane.
Okay, so that's why when people are like, what, your husband? Yeah. You did. I did it. It wasn't a...
Well, you were making milk.
Right, but it wasn't like a...
It wasn't a question. It was just a thing.
It wasn't something that
you
even needed to be discussed or
arm.
Talked about. It was like, I don't know. It was like, you're going to... I don't know. It's just...
Well, it was... And that's where it's like, I guess, to me and then her husband, Eric, is just like, well, this is the way it should be. But then there's other people that... And it's sad to me that the way it should be isn't the way it is for so many people, marriages, women, whatever.
And I have seen that on TikTok.
which
where
is
so many women are finding their voice and they are saying these things like, I was sick as a dog, but nobody was here to help me.
well, and
It
that's
was
what I was
just
saying. I was
on
like,
me and only me and on me.
I told her, I was like, my wife had knocked her on her butt, and so she was down. And I said, and honestly, thank God I had 0 symptoms because I was able.
And I think the whole time I was like, any day the shoe's gonna drop. That's
Yeah,
why any
you
kind of
were waiting.
sniffle cough, I'm like, oh, here it comes, here it comes.
Yeah.
Oh, we are so screwed.
Giving you more anxiety the whole time.
And then I told my, that's what I was sharing, like, just on social media, is that I know the cycle, like, the minute that I feel like completely out of control, it's done. I've given up. We're completely done. I've checked out. It's over. And it's just me and a mom and all the things. And
It's so
Liz
different.
felt the exact same way. And so we're like, we want to talk about this.
Yeah. Well, and for men, and like hearing from other people is, that are good guys. You know what I mean? The guys that do step up and do what they're supposed to do. For us, like the mom guilt that you guys carry and put on yourselves, like we can't comprehend it. It just doesn't make sense because to us, you guys are amazing. You're checking all the boxes, you're kicking ass, you're doing all the things. And so it's like you have this internal mom guilt and worry and fear that
100%.
we just don't have. And that's what Lynn was saying. She's like, because that mama bear, we need to take care of our children no matter what. So any little threat or any little thing is now world ending, world changing because we go in protector mode. And I was like, well, that's funny that you say that because for men, we're in provider mode. So if you're not, well, at least for me, if you're not feeling like you're secure and that any little thing and you start feeling insecure and, just finances in general, then to me, it's like, I'm not doing enough providing. So and that's just, I would guess that would be the dad guilt.
Okay.
Like I don't have.
I see what you're saying.
That would be, I guess, our version of it, but it's so small compared to your guys's.
Yeah. We have a lot of boxes.
Yeah,
I have buckets.
We have 1, maybe 2.
Well, for our situation, so before anybody tries to come at us and say, but
it's just interesting to hear that.
Well, good. I'm glad that Lynn also feels like that. Makes me feel less cray. And also for you to understand like what it feels like to, it's hard for me to explain that.
Well, and that's where it was good. Like it was really a good conversation with her because she was like, no, absolutely. And she was saying, it's just like being half and half. You know what I mean? Like hearing these things, and it's so many similarities, but you're hearing it from a different voice,
right?
That isn't the one that's always there. Like it's different, a different perspective of the same thing in a way, but it was, and to know, we're not the only ones, And
it's just women suffer in silence.
Yeah, when she said that same thing, she was like, "Women don't talk," and she goes, and then you go. Then I told her that, but she goes, and then you go on to these like mom support groups, and she said they're the most toxic place in the world. And so that started the whole thing about like breastfeeding and how you didn't, you were worried about with Levi because he wasn't latching, and then it was just this whole toxic thing about breastfeeding, and then it was like, no, you got to pull yourself back. She's like, it's insane.
It really is, which is something that I brought up with Liz, with the Coastal Bend Mom Collective. It's not that she doesn't want any of that kind of stuff, and it's so wild that when these women want this community so bad, they just trash each other. And I just watch it from afar and be like, why? Yeah. I just don't get it. There's a lot of things that I've seen, like in the Coastal Bend Mom Collective. There's lots of moms that I don't agree with. Cool. You do you, but I'm not going to get on there and trash this lady for something that how she wants to raise her family, her kids. And maybe that advice, somebody's really going to want it or need it.
Yeah.
It's not mine. I'm different. Cool with that.
Well, you got to be mature and grown enough to say, this is a good bit of advice. This is a good bit of advice. And it could be coming from the same person. Like, there's plenty of times when I talk with Vince about things, and I'm like, that's a good bit of
What's
advice.
wrong with your voice?
I don't know. I'm getting
There.
I think it's the allergy stuff going on. But anyhow, like I talked to Vince, and I'm like, that's a good bit of advice. Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm not going to do that one. Because
Everybody's just very quick
that doesn't
to
work for
judge
me.
without context on social media. And they're quick to be the best at everything and not point any fingers at themselves. It's vicious. So it's refreshing when you do meet a group of moms. That's why I love like Radine and Alex and Iris and Rachel. Like, it's so diverse. There's lots of things that I'm like, okay, girl. Or there's things that they're probably like, that chick is cray, or like, whatever.
Well, and the guys us guys, we all get along great too.
And we've never had like a
force meeting.
No, and I don't know. It's just, I think just once you find your tribe, Lynn's right. The mom groups are just awful.
Yeah.
They're just so awful. So I think
And she said that she's like, what makes it even sadder, Jason, is that when moms are out there and women in general, and they're searching for help, because we started talking about mental health and how it's just ridiculously hard to get any kind of real treatment and help. And she was like, women go to these things that are desperate, and they're looking for help, they're looking for advice, they're looking for answers, and then they're bashed and told there's this and that. And she's like, and that's what pushes these moms. There was a case in Massachusetts that she was telling me about, killed kids, killed herself. And she's like, they're on this edge, and then they're suffering in silence and not having the support, and they reach and do these things, or try to, some of them, and then it pushes.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to me. Instead of being like,
it's factual.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's 100%. That's why I said I'm thankful, that I have a foundation. Like, it has been scary, and like it has been dark, and it has been horrific. And it wasn't until I had kids that I understood how that could even happen. Because you are just I can't even think about it, because it's awful. So Lynn's right. It's true.
Yeah.
It's so true. Like, we want to talk about all these hashtags about mental health matters, but when it comes down to it, it's $1. And if you don't have $1, you're screwed. And I was like, well, go over here and get help. Okay, we're all waiting for months to get in with these people. So in the meantime, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it? I don't know.
Nobody does, apparently.
My counselor reached out to me, and I just said, look, you're expensive. We cannot afford it. That's also a fact. And she's like, she gave me 2 local organizations. I'm like, they're months. Months. Or you're waiting 6 to 8 weeks in between your appointments. For an hour and then 6 to 8 weeks between those appointments. How is that consistent care?
And that was the same thing that Ruben was complaining about with him and his situation. And like, he's like, yeah, so I talked to the counselor for an hour, well, really 45 minutes. And then
That's also facts.
And
like,
then
it's not an hour-long session.
And then he goes, well, and then I'm not scheduled again for another 6 weeks. Dude, I deal with this every day.
Yes.
How do I go 6 weeks? And then when they do call back and then they want to talk about the same thing that we talked about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, there's that weird follow-up, and they're like,
Yeah, like I'm in a different place right now.
Well, we hope to be.
Well, it's just like life. It's a different day. But
it's so it's, I don't know. It's just like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. It's like everybody's like, get help, get help, get help. And you're like, I want help. And they're like, okay, well, here's all this free help, and 50 other billion people also need free help. And I understand that. I think that's why when the phone rings and I see it's one of my girlfriends, I just pick it up. It's like, I could be doing 50 other things, but like, if I know something's going on with the girlfriend, like, she's calling me for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, it's a vet dial, or, I see so many people talk about that too on social media, like they hate talking on the phone. Well, I hate reading your text messages all damn day long.
Yeah, call me.
Yeah, like there's just, we also forget like the person behind the text. Like we just, oh, she's good, she's great, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
it's
how many
just,
times can somebody in a text message say I'm good, but then when you talk to that person, man, I'm good.
Yep. Context.
Are you sure?
Relationship, where are you at?
Mm-hmm. Well, that, like when I was on the rigs and we were like, nah, this is a talk conversation. You know, being gone like that, you know.
Yeah.
So we had that advantage to know, like, some things you can't hear.
I also think that where you're at, you're like when somebody says just, hey, I'm there for you, then you also have to be the one to pick, to like also to send the text or to make the call too. Mm-hmm. You know, so that you have to also be willing to say like, all right, I'm tired of sitting in the funk myself, and I can just text Ashley and be like, bro, I don't feel right, and she's like, what do you need me to do to help you do? You know, she's immediately like, you know, I don't know, maybe X, Y, and Z, or so. I think just there's a lot of growth and also standing in stagnant water at the same time. Does that make sense? It's like you're trying to go and like do these things, but you're just kind of stuck in like this funk at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like you're just waiting in it as you're waiting in it. Does that make sense?
I'm seeing your analogy.
Like you have these tools and you're trying to do these things, but you're still just kind of stuck like in this sour ass funk of like, well, how do I completely get out of this?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe you don't ever really get out of the completely of funk. It's just, you're just hopping on different rafts.
That's a good way to put it. You know, because I think any kind of hang-up, whether, you know, like when we talk about addictions, you know, like addictions don't go away. They may change into something else, but you're always alcoholics. Anybody that you talk to that's recovering alcoholic, they're recovering for the rest of their life. And so they know the things that do that. And I think it's like identifying those things.
Counselor did say that now that you, I don't know, you just said it like that, like addiction and alcoholism.
You know, because I got some friends on Facebook, they're celebrating, you know, I'm 283 days sober. Man, that's freaking awesome.
Well, I don't know how to celebrate not having a panic and anxiety attack when it's every single day of just spinning out of control and the guilt. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like
it's a different thing, but my point is like it may never go away, but identifying, redirecting. Like I know and I'll speak for myself right now. Like, you know, when I was younger, I struggled with depression really bad, right? And we know this, and I'm not going to get into all that. But even to this day, there's moments where I'm like, yeah, I got to redirect this. Because I can feel myself, like you say, you feel yourself going into this, you know, dark place or rabbit hole or whatever, how you even want to say it. Like, I recognize, all right, I'm getting down. And I actively redirect. Whether, and a lot of times, it doesn't, for me at this point, because this is 20 years removed, I'm good, you know, to a place good enough where it's like, all right, I'm talking to Abraham, or I'm going to do this, or I know, I turn on, you know, music that I know helps bring, you know, brighten me up. And I even express to that, you know, when I think about things that have happened, you know, professionally that sucked and that we went through, and I kind of, not today, Satan, and change it.
I think that's what's frustrating too, is when I let that shit win.
Yeah.
It's like when he said not today, Satan, I'm like, damn it, Satan. And then, but then it's just so far, I'm just so down into that thing, which I've also just been learning about myself. This is just so crazy, but on TikTok, man, the amount of people just sharing how they're like discovering who they are, like all these things, and I'm like, I think I've had so much undiagnosed things just my whole life I was just doing and didn't really think anything about it. That some of those are really good strong points, but there's something when I had kids, it broke the effing mold. Like it broke something to where all those things that I used to do were good, and now it's just, what the hell? Yeah. Like it's just...
Well, it's like there's so many little cracks in the dam, and then when you have a major
the kids,
life change event,
which they don't talk about. They don't talk about
Well, and we were talking
there's
about
a
the hormone.
freaking major shift that happens of like, what the F am I even doing anymore? And I think that's what it is. It's just a constant, I'm in flight or fight 24/7 all the time, which I mean, the kids came, something happened.
Talk to Liz about this, but another thing that Lynn, what Lynn was saying this morning is like that when you become a mom, and it's like a identity crisis that you guys go through.
100%. Also,
And
I'm quitting my job and doing this. There's a huge identity crisis in that too. There's 100% when you become a mom.
And so now she's like, and as our
100%.
kids are getting older and they're
That's just
starting to do their own things.
She's like, now
and
what do
then-
I do? Who am I?
And that's what she was saying. She's like, so now maybe I can try to do this thing that I've been wanting to do that I never really had a chance.
And a lot of people do that.
And
And I
that's-
believe that, and that makes sense. So good for Lynn that's going to pick up and do something that she
Mm-hmm.
finds passion, a hobby. So mom did. Mom's like, bye.
Yeah.
She went traveling. Like, yeah, we did stuff as a kid, but
Yeah.
that's what you're supposed to do. Like, I think that once you've done that job, like, yes,
Yeah.
go and do and be. And I hope that Lynn can find out, you know what that is. I'm ready to be a lazy ass mom and do nothing. Like, I'm ready. Okay. Yeah. Tired, but what's up, bud? Ooh, tell me where you got that Play-Doh from. Oh, okay. You're lucky that there was a thing of Play-Doh behind the couch because I thought you got into the Play-Doh, so you're lucky that you found the Play-Doh. Oh, you did? Okay, sis.
They got Play-Doh hidden in the spot. That's funny.
Other thing they don't tell you at the baby shower: don't ever buy your kid Play-Doh. That's a fact. Well, I think I'm going to use this for my podcast because I haven't recorded anything in a long time. So, thanks for joining me.
Oh.
Coco's Corner live from the dinner table. Peace.